State Representative Jamila Nasheed, Attorney Eric Vickers, and Reverend Michael Vossler. This morning, we will address a report that Mayor Slay intends to form a so-called task force to address racial diversity. We state unequivocally that this task force, or whatever he's calling it, is a complete farce. After having done this dastardly deed that has hurt so many good people and deeply divided and wounded this city, he now seeks to call together a group of his favorite cronies to whitewash the situation and deceive the community. This will not work. This community is intelligent and will quickly recognize this insult to its intelligence. Just as he did with Charles Bryson, he is trying to use black leaders to camouflage his racism and his utter disregard for the black community. We are deeply disappointed with those who are lending themselves to this fraud. We don't know all of them, but we do know some of them, and we reprimand them for what they are doing. We say to them that this mayor must not receive aid and comfort from any quarter. Jim Buford, CEO of the Urban League, you are supposed to be upholding the tradition of Whitney Young Jr. He would not be proud of you today. Claude Brown, whose side are you on? You're supposed to be serving your people. Have you forgotten who they are? John Moten, you're supposed to represent the Black Leadership Roundtable. Why are you helping our enemy? Senator Jeff Smith, you ought to be ashamed. You promised us that you would represent a majority black constituency. You told us you loved us, and now you have betrayed us. We will not forget. And we say to all elected officials, there is no safety in silence. It is time to come out of the darkness. It is time to lift your voice and say where you stand and whom you represent. We expect much from you. We would say to the clergy this morning, the scripture tells us that we must lay down our lives for the brethren. We have an obligation to protect the community. It's time for you to raise your voice and to take up this cause. If we as a community do not now respond decisively, massively, and powerfully to what has occurred, our community will be forever assumed asleep and will not be considered seriously in policy decisions going forward.
That's right.
We say to Mayor Slay, you do not have the right to commission a discussion on racial diversity. You must first right the wrong that you have done. We don't think that a commission on racial diversity is a bad idea, but you can't do it. In fact, we are discussing forming an independent group that will not include any of the mayor's cronies. We will no longer accept backroom politics as the norm in St. Louis. Thank you.
Reverend Parton, what do you say to the mayor's office that says diversity task force? We don't know what they're talking about. There's no diversity task force. We're not even trying to form one.
That apparently means that we have already successfully demolished it. He was trying to form one, but there were a great many people who declined to serve. He may have found it very difficult to form this task force.